Look out, the captain's away!
The Rugby League Hour, brought to you by Microbiome Solutions Limited, makers of Effluix, the new way to clean up dairy effluent and wastewater while increasing the fertiliser value of your irrigation in one easy step. Visit microbio.co.nz for more.
Strong, powerful, try!
Tony, we always start with the 6 again in the Rugby League Hour. So here they come, 6 questions. You aren't prepared. I just want honest answers. The Storm have been officially crowned minor premiers. Is whoever beats them the grand final winner?
Ooh, no.
Roosters win streak 9-1, same as the Storm, 4 in a row, second spot. Are they legitimately the second best team in the competition?
I think they're the smoky, Marty. If you jump on the Roosters, they have every chance of winning it.
Kevin Walters says his Brisbane Broncos, we will make the finals. Do you believe him?
Yes.
Tigers versus Eels. It's going to be a wooden spoon grand final in the final round. Who wins the spoon if you do win it?
Well, it's a tough one, isn't it? I'd like to think Benji can get himself off the bottom of the table.
Penrith lose away to the Raiders without Cleary. Is that a blip or is it something more serious?
Well, yeah, that's the million-dollar question. No, Cleary can't win it.
And finally, on a scale of 1 to 10, how big a disaster was the Warriors' season? 1 being total disaster, 10 being, hey, it was a great season despite it all.
I still think it's only a 3, Marty.
Oh, superb!
Up the Waz.
How good is that?
Okay, let's kick it off with the Warriors then. Shaun Johnson Stadium on a Friday night. Man, you'd have to have rocks in your heart not to feel a little tickle, a little tear then, wouldn't you, seeing him and the tears streaming down his face?
Oh, look, I think it's a fantastic way to send somebody off, Marty. You know, like, the advent of having a social media platform and television with all the cameras around the grounds that can capture moments like those. They do really play on the heartstrings of the public and great for your marketing team and a wonderful way to look at a player's career that has been long, enjoyable, and really at the I guess the final hurdle, a chance to go out there and show some emotion. So you know, to run out in front of your home crowd on that occasion with your wife and your 2 kids and allow the emotions to flow. I think that's a fantastic advert for the game.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well, mate. I just thought, you know, look, in the end, I'd hate to say ever that one person or one person's farewell is more important than the actual result. But the Warriors were never going to win that game. And so the crowd that turned up there didn't turn up expecting to see 2 points. They turned up to farewell him. And so that's kind of okay, isn't it?
Well, no, it's not. You know, we can't be, you know, I guess, giving pass marks on emotion. You know, there were 2 other players there, Tevaga that ran out and Addin Fonua-Blake that ran out as well, that played in their last game at the Warriors. And you know, Tevaga I really feel for, because he's a local kid that was brought up in Montevideo out at Papakura, and you know, he's a South Auckland boy through and through, and he's played most of his football, well, his only football at NRL for the Warriors. So I think when you get a chance to say goodbye in front of your home crowd, you know, it is an emotional time. And I guess for Shaun, you know, the theatre of the whole thing plays into that marketing strategy for the Warriors. You know, it was all set up near Shaun Johnson Stadium for the night. Get to drop some tears on the football field, and it's a great spectacle. It's great theatre. But you've got to remember, Marty, like when you're looking at this sort of stuff, you know, Kurt Sorensen, for me, never got to say goodbye on a theatre like that, as did a lot of great players. But you've also got to remember that there were 2 other players that were saying goodbye that night as well, which was Tevaga and Addin Fonua-Blake, and that's sort of forgotten on everyone else.
Tony Kemp is with us, former coach of the Warriors, a very proud Kiwi as well, and played a professional league in both hemispheres. Look, I don't want to dwell on this because we do this, you know, every week, and it feels like shooting fish in a bucket almost now. 8 wins out of 23. I mean, it says everything, doesn't it? The season has been an absolute shocker results-wise, and you can come up with all kinds of excuses and all kinds of reasons, but that's all they ever are, because ultimately now we pivot and tension turns towards those teams that actually are performing, are playing, and do have something to play for. So, I mean, what else do we need to say? Is there any more we can rake over with this Warriors outfit this year?
Well, no, you can't, because they've got to go to Cronulla and they've got to try and finish on a high. And Cronulla are flying at the moment, the way they're playing, trying to secure a top 4 spot. It's a pretty hard place to go to, the Shire, on the coast there, and get that win. So, they finished the season on a bye, and you'd hope to think, Marty, that an in-depth review of the season is going to happen. And there are going to be some answers of what went wrong. And for me, that's what you're really looking at now is what went wrong. And I think on the back of a 2023 season with so much promise, and everyone in New Zealand hoping that the Warriors, or expecting the Warriors to make the top 4 at least, it has been nothing short of a disaster on the football field. We can't say that off the football field, because they've filled up stadiums at home for the rest of the year, and the crossover crowd and the people that are coming to watch the Warriors have been plentiful. The results have not been, I guess, the desired results that people are really expecting. So what went wrong, Marty? What went wrong? Those are the questions you need to ask. And for me, I think, there was a conversation around Roger Tuivasa-Sheck that should have been had a hell of a lot earlier in the season around whether or not he could make it as a centre. And they continued to crack on with it, even though it wasn't working. And the other thing was, of course, the game sped up this year. It's got a little bit quicker, and why a player like Jerome Hughes is probably going to pick up the Daily M. And you saw that again last night with the way he goes over the ad line. We had a halfback that was going sideways, and he wasn't taking the ad line on. And of course, everyone around him, it helps defence lines adjust, and everyone else around him get pretty well picked off on the offence side of things. So those are just a couple of points that I've sort of seeing what went wrong with the side. But hopefully the review that's coming up will identify that, because what that identifies is, well, who's the halfback that's going to take us over the headline? And Tamati Martin showed a little bit of that when he was in the side. But is that the halfback to get us to the grand final? And the other part is, does Roger Tuivasa-Sheck stay and play centre again next year? Because if you look at the good sides, Marty, and this is an old model, the good sides will have a big left back edge player that's normally devastating. They'll have at least one marquee centre. They'll have a good 5'8" or good halfback, and then they have a really good lock and hooker. Yeah, and if you look at Melbourne, Penrith, and I'll go throw Canterbury in there at the moment, they've got those. When we're looking at players, we've had no back rower that really stood out. They jump in and out of the middle and the edge. Our hookers have been average this year. We haven't been settled on halfback. We haven't got a marquee centre, even though Roger is a marquee player. And I think until we can address those problems, we're never ever going to seriously contend to win a competition.
It's Only Sport with Martin Devlin, Untamed, only on the platform.
Tony Kemp is back with us, looking at the top of the table. Melbourne Storm clinched that minor premiership over the weekend. 3 teams now battling, though, for second. Roosters, Sharks, Panthers. I'm sick and tired of hearing people say, the Sharks are a fraudulent side. They were excellent yesterday, beating a St. George side, which was desperate for a win themselves. But 3 on 36. How does it end, mate? Who actually gets that coveted second spot?
Well, it's a tough one, isn't it? Look, I think Penrith's loss on the weekend is really opening up that door for second spot. You finish in the top 4, Marty, you get a life. I think the top 4 possibly is settled. I think the real question comes down to is who finishes in that 8th spot, which will come down to the final game of the season by the looks of it. And that's where teams are looking to play each other to try and get through to the following week before they reach, the 2 teams that, preferably that top 4 is going to go through, and then you get up against either the Cronullers or the Sydney City Roosters to try and make it through to play those top 2 teams. And I think there may be a little bit of a change in the top 4, but I'm not really worried that much about it. It's really, can Brisbane make it through, which Lockie wants to hear, in that last round. And I've got to say, with the way that Bellamy sets the sides up for the final, I reckon they go to Melbourne, Brisbane, if they can get this win this week, and they go to Melbourne, they play a second-rate side, and they sneak in on the back of Craig Bellamy resting all his players.